and let us all do we can to build a better future.
The crisis in East Palestine, Ohio must not be forgotten. There's an ongoing situation there impacting the residents. Now, we all know for a fact that Flint, Michigan doesn't have clean drinking water. There's lead in Chicago's drinking water. We at Hard Lens Media, I'm going to keep on plugging our 2 documentary videos that we did, The Toxic Tour, in which industrial facilities are dumping regulated toxic waste into Lake Michigan. There's obviously the ongoing situation with Hawaii's underground water reserves being contaminated and so much more. Now, look, again, the people of Ohio, East Palestine, Ohio, and all the outlying communities are suffering as well because, as it stands right now, CDC employees sent to East Palestine are now sick. They're sick. The CDC employees who were sent to East Palestine, Ohio, are now sick. Why are they sick? What's going on? The people of East Palestine, Ohio, demand answers. And I don't care if that district voted for Trump. I don't care. I really don't care. Think I care about some orange Cheeto of a president who's part of the 2-party neoliberal system, who used to be a Democrat, now a Republican? I don't care. I don't care who these people voted for. I don't care if Ohio went red as an electoral college state. I don't care. Reason why I don't care is because guess what? At the end of the day, the people of Ohio are American citizens. Just like the people of Flint, Michigan, just like my city of Chicago, just like all these other communities that are impacted with environmental disasters. Our air, water, and soil are being contaminated, yet our politicians in both parties aren't doing a damn thing to help us. So, look, I don't care how people vote for or who they're going to vote for. I don't care what generation you're part of or how old you are or who you worship. No one should be suffering. So I'll play this video segment here. And then I got an article from Common Dreams as well. But we cannot ever forget that this is happening.
The CDC says earlier this month, federal workers actually got sick while they were surveying in East Palestine after that derailment.
They showed symptoms similar to what other people have been talking about, fearing chemical exposure.
Chris Hoffman went back to East Palestine today to talk to residents who are still dealing with the aftermath about the report.
And for the people here, this just reinforces their distrust of some of the government officials. They say, if those federal workers are getting sick, what's possibly being done to them? The CDC says it was on March.
That's a very good question because those residents are longtime residents. We actually interviewed someone who's part of the East Palestinian community, or part of a group that's helping out the people of East Palestine. She's a part of a neighboring community. We did do an interview with her. Again, my fear is this, and I hope I'm wrong, but I see this happening because I've seen this happen to other major metropolitan cities, and I could see this being done to this town in East Palestine, Ohio. To the people living in those communities, you have to band together. I don't care if you had any kind of rivalries or disputes, put that aside, because what I see happening is large real estate developers or private equity firms or banks swooping in and buying properties because of this contamination disaster. Property values are going to be going to a low. You guys got to band together because what's happening to you guys is criminal. And the thing is, the fact that CDC employees are getting sick, this is going to impact a lot of people living there. And the Biden-Harris administration have yet to visit, save for Pete Buttigieg. Where's Joe Biden at? Where's Kamala at?
6th, more than a month after the train derailment when the workers got sick. They were in East Palestine assessing the chemical exposure.
It's been a living nightmare. It has been pure hell.
According to the CDC, 7 people on the 15-person team reported symptoms, including sore throat, headache, coughing, and nausea. These are similar symptoms to what residents complained of in the chemical assessment surveys after the derailment.
It's not getting better. It's not getting better at all.
Those federal workers reported their symptoms to safety officers. Later that afternoon, the CDC says the symptoms resolved. They all resumed their work 24 hours later. They didn't appear to have any long-term issues.
I didn't have the long-term issues. Really? Really? See, here's the thing about these chemicals and all these other man-made creations that we, push around this entire country is that, you might feel the symptoms, but the long-term consequences will be there. Oh, they got better. Okay, great. Really? You sure? How about in a few months from now? How about in a year from now? 2 years from now?
I do not trust anything that officials are telling us.
Now, people living in East Palestine say if these workers got sick in the short time they were exposed, what does that mean for the residents living with this air every day? They don't trust the state and federal leaders saying the air is okay.
I don't think any, of our government officials would want to be right here in Ground Zero. I mean, I think certainly, that Shaw wouldn't.
4 days I couldn't quit coughing.
The EPA and Norfolk Southern did not respond for comment today. For the people here, they say they just want the truth. They're adults and they say whatever it is, they can.
Exactly. The people do deserve the truth. The people deserve to know what's happening to them. The people deserve to know who is actually going to fight for them. Because our politicians, like always, seem to hide, duck and cover, because they're cowards. So here, I want to pull up this article here. It's from Common Dreams. And again, look, I want to make it, I'm going to keep on repeating this because the whole purpose of this show is to empower people, to let you guys know what your rights are. And also at the same time, too, we all have a lot of things in common. Everyone has hopes and dreams, fears and concerns. And the people of East Palestine, Ohio, I don't care how they voted in the 2020 election. They are American citizens. Nobody should be going through this. But yet this is once again a very common thing impacting all Americans. And that is we have a country that is being run to the ground by both parties. Our infrastructure is falling apart. Our air, our soil, our water is being contaminated. And we, the American people, are left holding the bag. But yet banks, private equity, Wall Street, the top 1%, well, they're living on cloud nine. So CDC officers become sick while assessing contamination in East Palestine, Ohio. So reports that several investigators with the U.S. Centers of Disease Control and Prevention became ill earlier this month when they visited East Palestine, Ohio, offered the latest evidence on Friday that the air and water in the town is less safe than state officials and rail company Norfolk Southern have claimed. Oh, my goodness. Everyone, let's have democracy in the chat. I know it's a foreign concept. What the hell is democracy? Are you shocked that Norfolk Southern and the state officials might have gotten something wrong? Type 1 if you are shocked, and surprised that they got something wrong. Type 2 if you're like, no, they knew how bad it was. As CNN reported, 7 physicians and officers from the CDC's Epidemic Intelligence Service traveled to East Palestine in early March, a month after a train carrying toxic chemicals, including vinyl chloride, derailed there. The team reporting developing symptoms including headaches, sore throats, coughing, nausea, while they were conducting their door-to-door assessment of public health risks. The symptoms were similar to those reported by many East Palestine residents. So if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. That means there's something wrong in that area. So, politicians, Norfolk Southern, everybody, be adults, be responsible, and tell the people the truth. You see, the thing is, when you tell the truth, it works out in the end. There you go. It works out for you. So again, it is interesting that this vinyl chloride, when it was burned, that's what happened. They conducted a controlled release following the derailment to avoid an explosion, a controlled release. But it looked like a huge explosion. It looked like a small nuke went off in the middle of that town. Despite reports from people in that area who were briefly evacuated and then told us days after the accident that it was safe to return to East Palestine, state officials and Norfolk Southern representatives have insisted that no dangerous levels of contamination have been detected in the air or water. All right. And so, again, we must stop playing Russian roulette with our health and the environment, said the environmental justice advocate Aaron Brockovich on Friday. So, again, when I see that controlled explosion that they did, that doesn't look like a controlled explosion. And when you did it, I think maybe you should have told the people what was going on. The report from the CDC experts adds confirmation that the symptoms reported by East Palestine residents are real and are associated with environmental exposures from the derailment and chemical fire. Norfolk Southern has removed roughly 9 million gallons of contaminated wastewater from the site of the derailment so far. Chemicals spilled into local creeks and rivers after derailment and eventually flowed into the Ohio River. Hey, good old fancy chemicals. Just drink up. Drink it all up, folks. Residents have expressed frustration over officials' assurances, as many have reported symptoms similar to those experienced by the CDC experts. They're all scientists, one East Palestine woman named Jamie Koza told a panel of state and federal experts at a town hall on March 2nd. They're sitting up here telling us nothing's wrong. I want you to tell me why everybody in my community is getting sick. And so here's the consequence from this. Voters are going to remember this. Voters are going to remember that this is what happened to them. And so when 2024 raises its head, and if Trump is still in the Republican primary, I hate being the bad guy here, but hey, this is political ammunition for him to use against the Biden-Harris administration. And this is a way for him to, call out this administration for its failure to do something for the people of East Palestine, Ohio. It's going to happen. I wish that this wasn't the world we lived in, but this is a recipe for disaster for the Democrats. And at least as it stands right now, because I've been watching people on social media, especially the Vote Blue no matter who crowd, especially when this crisis took place in East Palestine, Ohio. What did they say? What did I see some leading pundits and people with blue check marks say? Those people in East Palestine, Ohio deserved it because they voted for Trump. Oh, that's a Republican district. Who cares? Last I checked, Ohio is a key electoral college state. And for anyone that's a voting Democrat or Republican, know this. Popular vote means jack. So whoever controls the electoral college gets to become president. Okay? And the thing is, the way this administration, the Biden-Harris administration, has been running this country with inflation on the rise, with crisis after crisis impacting the American people, and again, Americans struggling day in, day out, and a clear economic depression on the horizon, this is what's going to cost the Democrats the White House and potentially the Senate and the House, because nothing fundamentally changed. And voters are going to see this. You heard it here first from Hard Lens Media. If things play out the way I think it's going to play out, the Democrats are in for a very rude awakening.